Hi there. I am Dana Lucanis, and I am an executive director with Pink Zebra Home. I am coming to you live because I want to chat with everybody about the basics of where do I find my customers? Where do I find my party host? So you may be a new consultant, or you may be a consultant that has been around for a while and you struggle with where to find your customers, or where do you find that party host. So I'm here to just kind of share a few things with you about what I've done in the past. I have a pretty good customer base, and the key has been to continue sharing my information. So when I first began, I did a few vendor events, fairly small ones, and what I found was that people didn't recognize, like they had no idea what Pink Zebra was, and so they tend to kind of like look at you and keep on walking. They don't want to have anything to do with you because they don't recognize you, right? Some people might come up and say, "Hey, what's Pink Zebra?" But more times than I care to admit, people would just kind of look and then not make any more eye contact with me because they didn't want me speaking out to them. But what I found was, if you continue to return to these events, people begin to become familiar with not just seeing you, but seeing the brand name. And there's something about familiarity that people will just, it's almost like they don't realize they've seen you there before. They just know they've seen you before. And so there becomes this trust level that develops. It's a very strange thing, but it's just like anything. I can see a commercial on television and my first reaction is, ugh, because I'm not familiar with the product. I'm not familiar with the name, any of that. And then all of a sudden, I've seen it a few more times and I don't even realize it. But in my mind, it's familiar. And so all of a sudden, I'm listening to what the commercial has to say because it's familiar. I've developed a trust for some reason. I have no idea why, but all of a sudden, I'm listening. And I think that's what happens with us when we're out at vendor events and other places where people are not familiar with us. So I recommend that if you're going to do events, which is just one way of working the business, to continue. Don't just go to a few events and then say, "Oh, that didn't work. I didn't get any sales. I only got a couple of leads. I mean, that was horrible." It may have been horrible, but you know what? Do it again and do it a few times until you start to see a difference. I've been doing this for 8 years, and our business, I got in when we were brand new. And so I had that a lot where people would just kind of look at me funny. But there's a couple of events that I stuck with and year after year continue to go to. And over the last couple of years, it's been fantastic because people are actually looking for me. And the people that do come by, there's a familiarity now because our name is kind of starting to get out there a little bit more. And so they do stop and they do want to pay attention. And the vendor events, I've actually been able to sell product where in the past I might be able to sell some sprinkles, but people were just still kind of eh. But I've actually been able to sell product. People were actually walking out of there with accent shades and simmering lights and soaks and so much more than they ever did before. And I'm getting more opportunity for follow-up. We do have customer care cards in our back office. I highly recommend that you print those out, take them with you to your event. If you want to offer, fill this out and, be in a drawing for a couple of jars of, free sprinkles or something, you can do that. It's your business. Do with it what you want if you want to encourage people to fill those out. But what I love about those cards is it does say that you would like more information about the business, or you would like to host a party, or you would like more information about ScentFlirt, or whatever it is. A lot of times I have found people will check off something where they didn't say anything to you about it, but they will check it off. So there's that. So again, I highly recommend you do it and continue to do it. Don't give up after just one or two shows. Same with your social media. If you're using social media with your business, that's great. Just be sure, number one, it's kind of a fine line with social media. You'll hear everybody talk about, there's you want to make sure you're posting about your business, but that you're also posting some fun stuff in between so that people aren't just being bombarded with buy from me. And they want to get to know you. So I highly recommend that you use your picture as the profile picture. I'm talking about on a business page or on Instagram or Pinterest or wherever. Use a picture of you so that people get to know you and you begin to brand yourself. And then share about your products, but also share how you personally enjoy your products. Maybe it's a quick video on how you make a candle, or some pictures of, I typically will put pictures of how I decorate with our accent shades around my home. Things like that, so that people can learn to connect with you and get to know you a little bit, because they're buying from you. At the end of the day, they're buying from you. So business page, I feel like, is very important to have. They say that, we don't get as much reach on our business page as we used to, but I still am a firm believer that you will get reach if you're consistent, and if you get people, if you're doing things that make people interested, that they want to comment. If people are commenting on your posts, it is going to further your reach. So that's always a good thing. There are some people that will do the this or that post, to where you automatically will post this or that. Or they'll do my favorite childhood cartoon was whatever. And then people, like, even I will stop and post that because it's fun, right? So you're getting reach on your posts. So that's just a little bit. If you are posting on your personal page, I do kind of give a warning that all of your friends and family want to know about what's going on with you personally. That's why they're on Facebook following you. They don't want to constantly be barraged with your business on your personal page. So I'm very careful about, I don't particularly post very often at all about my business. Now, I'm tagged in pictures, but that's okay, because it's just showing the life that we have, the lifestyle, the fun things that we're doing as consultants. So that's a little different than a sale post or a join now post or anything like that. And then, of course, the other thing is stories. You can always use some of this stuff in your stories, and people like to watch stories now. So, but what I was, back to my original point, is when you're posting, you can't just post once or twice a week and expect to get anything from that. It's got to be very consistent, because people, they need to get to know you. They need to become familiar. It's the same thing with a vendor event. It's this, if you're constantly in front of them, then there's that constant reminder. You become top of mind when they're thinking of scents. They'll be like, oh wait, I saw that. What's that lady's name? And they'll start researching or searching through their Facebook. So, make sure that you're being consistent. And then, of course, again, fine line. You don't want to be overly posting, because then people are going to unfollow you, because they're going to be like, okay, I can't do this. This is too much. So there is a fine line, but you'll find it. Just keep trying different things. Also, another way I highly recommend, and I talk about this all the time when Dwayne and I go live, but I highly recommend that you do your own open house. You can do it once a month. You can do it once every 2 months. Do whatever you want, whatever you're comfortable with. But I highly recommend that, because what ends up happening, you invite your friends and your neighbors, have a little card printed out perhaps that has the date and open house on there. And if you run into somebody that you haven't seen in a while, or if you're talking to somebody and Pink Zebra comes up and they say, oh, well, I want to check out a little bit more about your business, I'm having an open house. As a matter of fact, come see me, just stop by. It's just in and out. You don't have to stay for a presentation, nothing like that. But keep inviting people to come to your own open house, and then encourage them when they start seeing things that they want and they say, oh, I'm on a budget. I can't do that right now. Then you say, I've got the answer. Why don't you just have a blend bash, or just have a party? Or if they work in an office building, offer to put together a party on the go that they can just take and set up a couple things on their desk for people to walk by. There's so many ways to connect with people, but the key is to be continually doing it. It's not just a one-time throw it out there and expect something to hit and stick. You've got to continuously be doing it. If your area has networking opportunities, if there's a chamber of commerce, if there's a business professional women's group or men's group or whatever, or maybe you're in a particular group. Maybe you're in a group for moms that, that work on, moms that work, or I don't know, just there's so many different groups out there. But if you're in one of those groups, get to know people. Don't just share your business all the time. Don't just share your products, but actually get to know people. Have a sincere yearning to get to know people, because people will sense that and they will want to get to know you as well. I'm a firm believer that, I will tell you, there's a couple of groups that I'm in, and there's a couple of people in those groups that the minute they walk in the door, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go sit over here. I don't want them to see me, which is a horrible thing to say. But the bottom line is, because I know all they care about is making a sale, and they come straight up to me and say, hey, you didn't ever try that, whatever, that mask for, whatever. It's really a good one. I really think you should try it. That's not what I'm there for. I'm there to network and get to know them, not just have them sell to me. So I, in turn, don't do that to anyone else. We always, in most networking groups, you have an opportunity to stand up and give your quick 30-second commercial. And that's the time that I take to say, hi, I'm Dana Lucanis, Pink Zebra Home, all things home fragrance and decor. And each time I go, I will say, we have a fantastic program for our single moms. It's our Heroes program, and I would love to tell you more about it if you know any single moms that could use some assistance. Or maybe I'll say, we also give 10% back to Autism Speaks. That's our program of choice right now, and I would love to give you more information if you would like that. So there's something a little bit different each time that maybe I will quickly hit on, but I don't hammer it in. It's all about a soft sale. I don't know how else to say it. The bottom line is, you want them to get to know you and like you, so that they will eventually buy from you or send friends to you if they can't personally buy from you themselves. Anyway, so that's just a few things, but the key thing I want to tell you over and over and over again is it's consistency. It's doing it over and over again. It's repetition. It's follow-up. Those things are key. Throwing stuff out there one time and expecting some big, huge sales volume isn't going to work most of the time. If it does, you're very lucky, and I suggest that you continue to follow up with those people for repeat. But otherwise, you need to keep doing things over and over and over and over again, and follow up with people, and be sincere and get to know people. So anyway, hope that helps a little bit. I hope you have a fantastic day, and we will talk